Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. US markets were up about 0.5 to almost about 0.6% as this FOMC meet did not have any major negative impact and European markets too were up anywhere from 1 to 1.5%. And importantly, the referendum on the Scottish vote is, the counting of that is underway, and in the next couple of hours we'll have clarity about what the outcome of this referendum vote is. There is some amount of caution because of this development, because it could have major implications for the pound and euro in particular, and eventually it may also have implications on the flows and the interest rates. So this is an event that the market is watching out for very closely. And when we look at the Asian markets today morning, Nikkei is up almost about 1.3%. And Hang Seng is marginally up about 0.1%, and SGX Nifty, after a spectacular move of yesterday of more than 100 points, is likely to open up with about 10 points kind of gains. Though we had such a brilliant move in the market, the flows don't reflect that kind of an optimism. In fact, in yesterday's trade, in the cash market, the FIs were net sellers to the tune of about 10 crore, and the domestic institutions were buyers to the tune of about 95 crore. So this definitely has come as a major surprise as to how come the FI flows in yesterday's trade were so little. Overall, the trend in the market looks positive, but we think that given this event of Scotland and the fact that the flows have not been that supportive, there could be some amount of volatility, particularly in the broader market. So on that note, let me invite Sadhana to take us through important F&O cues and ideas that we can have from the F&O desk.
Good morning friends, let's have a view on derivatives. The benchmark indices showed an enthusiastic performance in yesterday's trade by rallying more than close to 2%. As we have seen that Nifty started the session on flattish to negative note, but soon after touching an intraday low, Nifty bounced back sharply with the support of banking stocks, auto, metal, pharma, realty. Most of the sectors were trading with positive territory, and due to which Nifty snapped its session at 8137.70 odd levels. In this period, we have seen that open interest is increased by 12% from 1 crore 45 lakhs to 1 crore 62 lakhs. Approximately 35,000 contracts were added in yesterday's trade. Also, Nifty futures price increased by 145 rupees. On the other hand, cost of carry also increased by 42% from 9.93 to 14.10, along with Nifty futures trim increased from 17 points to 22 odd levels. On the options front, PCR is increased by 12% from 0.90 to 1.01, which is clearly indicating that we have started the positive trend. India VIX was down by 6% from 13.09 to 12.33%. In the options activity, we have seen that the markets bounced back sharply and crossed the 8,000 mark. We have seen that lots of position was squared up in 8,000 call option. Approximately 44% shares were reduced in 8,000 call option, followed by 8,100 and 8,200, and that activity was shifted to 8,300 call option. We have seen that 20% shares were added in 8,300 call option. On the put option, 8,000 and 8,100 has seen good activity. Approximately 133% shares were added in 8,100 call option, 8,100 put option. So we may see this might act as a strong support going forward. There are three securities in bank period. One is GMR Infra, second is India Bull Real Estate, third is Unitech. Yesterday, FIs were net buyers of approximately 870 crores in future and option segment. They were net buyers of 645 crore in index futures. They were net buyers of 39 crore in index options. They were net buyers of 81 crore in stock futures, and they were net buyers of 106 crore in stock options. Our 5-day CVM stands at 8110. This would be a very important level to watch for. Lower range for the market would be 8,100 and higher range would be 8,212, which is our monthly straddle break-even point on higher side. Singapore Nifty is up by 3 points, which is at 8131. So we may see flattish to positive start in Nifty futures today. That's it from derivatives. Thank you.
Friends, let me take you through Sharekhan pre-market action report, starting with actionable ideas. First of all, a long call on Tata Motors and Tata Steel, as Moody's Investor Services has upgraded the ratings of half a dozen Tata Group companies. So one can go long on Tata Motor with the stop loss of 518 and a target of about 535 to 545. And on Tata Steel with the stop loss of 495 and a target of about 515 to 525. BHEL has received an order of almost about 3,536 crore for setting up about 800 megawatt supercritical thermal plant in Gujarat. So one can go long on BHEL with a stop loss of 224 and a target of about 238 to about 245. Bharti, some negative news, as the company may have to pay up about 436 crore for merging Airtel broadband services with itself towards a differential spectrum cost. So one can short Bharti with a stop loss of about 422 and a target of about 408 to about 402. And here is the list of stocks for going long for the day traders. Stocks with positive bias are Reliance Infra, Tata Steel, Avils and Bajaj Auto. There are no stocks with negative bias as such for today. And in other news and update, India Value Fund Advisors has picked up about 10% stake in a group company of Biocon called Syngene International for about 380 crore, valuing that firm at about 3,800 odd crore, which is a group company of Biocon. So this is definitely a positive news for Biocon. Watch out for some positive action there. Maruti Suzuki has said that the shareholders' approval for its Gujarat plant will get postponed to November. And in other news, NPPA has decided to include about 43 drugs in that particular order, which would have some negative implications for companies like Ranbaxy and Cipla. And Tech Mahindra has said that it will work with Bosch Software Innovations to develop an ecosystem to offer solutions for smart cities with billions of things interconnected via the internet. And reality firm Pashwanath has sold about land parcel worth 700 crore to a Delhi-based company to cut its debt. And Jio Infocom has signed an agreement to share the telecom towers of GTL and another Chennai-based company. And cable service provider Hathway Cable has said that it plans to raise about 150 crore through preferential allotment of shares to various institutional investors. And Infosys has tied up with the Chinese company UI to offer partnership on certain areas. And Exim Bank has, Exim Bank of China has tied up with 3 of the Indian banks like SBI, ICICI Bank and Axis Bank to facilitate trade between the two countries. So they are working together on certain projects. And Snapdeal has started accepting the pre-bookings for the new variant of Mahindra's SUV Scorpio. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great trading session. See you tomorrow at the same time.